The pounding on the door was rhythmic, heavy, and desperate, like a man trying to punch his way out of a coffin, except the man was my husband, and he was trying to punch his way back into an apartment he'd voluntarily abandoned 6 weeks ago. "Audrey, I know you're in there. Open the goddamn door," Nathan screamed, his voice cracking in a way that usually made me scramble to fix whatever was broken. I sat on the other side of the white-painted wood, cross-legged on the floor, holding a slice of pepperoni pizza that had gone slightly cold. My daughter, Molly, was 3 feet away on the couch, headphones on, totally engrossed in a cartoon where colorful ponies solved friendship problems. She couldn't hear him. The noise-canceling headphones were the best $50 I'd ever spent. "This is illegal, Audrey. You can't lock me out of my own house." I took a bite of the pizza. The pepperoni was greasy and perfect. I checked my watch. The police would be here in about 4 minutes. I wasn't shaking. I wasn't crying. I wasn't negotiating for scraps of affection. For the first time in 8 years, I was just eating dinner. He thought he was pounding on the door of a broken woman. He didn't realize he was banging on the gates of a fortress. If you're watching this video, tell me where you're from or what time it is for you. It started, like most tragedies do, with the mundane sound of vegetable chopping. This was 6 weeks prior. I was standing at the kitchen island fighting with a red bell pepper that was a little too soft on one side, trying to get dinner ready before Molly had a meltdown. The pasta water was doing that aggressive rolling boil where it spits hot, starchy droplets onto the stovetop. Nathan was leaning against the granite counter, scrolling on his phone. He had that look on his face, the one he gets when he's reading those high-performance mindset threads on Twitter. He wasn't helping. He never helped. He just existed in the space, taking up oxygen. "Audrey," he said. He didn't look up from the screen. "I've been doing some thinking about us, about my trajectory." I paused, knife hovering over the pepper. "Okay? Is this about the sales targets again? Because Miles said the quarter is slow for everyone." "No, it's not about sales. It's about expansion." He finally looked up and his eyes were empty. Not mean, just devoid of anything resembling a connection to me. "I've decided we're opening our marriage." I set the knife down, very slowly, because if I didn't set it down, I might have thrown it. I turned off the burner under the pasta water. The silence in the kitchen was sudden and violent. "Excuse me?" I whispered. He straightened up, putting his phone in his pocket like he'd just rehearsed this speech in the bathroom mirror. "I'm opening the marriage. It's not betrayal, Audrey. It's ethical non-monogamy. Miles and I were talking, and he helped me realize that I've been shrinking myself to fit into this domestic container. It's stifling my potential." "Your potential?" I repeated. "Nathan, you're 34. You sell software. You're not a caged tiger." "See? That's exactly it. That's cynicism," he shot back, pointing a finger at me. "I need growth. I need to explore connections that fuel my visionary side. So I'm telling you now because I value honesty. I'm leaving tomorrow for a 6-week training seminar with Sabrina Price." Sabrina Price, the woman from his office, the lead of innovation or whatever nonsense title they gave her, the one he'd been quoting for months like she was a prophet of corporate synergy. "You're leaving," I said, my voice flat, "for 6 weeks. With a woman you clearly want to sleep with, to find yourself." "It's a training seminar, Audrey. But yes, Sabrina and I will be exploring our connection. It's about energy exchange. I don't expect you to understand right away. You're very grounded in traditional ownership models." I looked over his shoulder at Molly. She was sitting at the dining table, her head bent low over a coloring book, humming a song about unicorns. She had no idea her father was currently rewriting the terms of her existence because a podcast probably told him to. "If you walk out that door," I said, and I was surprised by how steady my voice sounded, "do not think for 1 second that this life will be paused, waiting for you to hit play when you're done." He actually laughed, a short, sharp exhalation through his nose. Don't be dramatic. I'm not abandoning you. I'm expanding us. I'll be back in 6 weeks, recharged. You should use the time to work on your own independence. He pushed off the counter and walked past me toward the bedroom. I need to pack. My flight is at 7 a.m. I stood there staring at the half-chopped pepper. I heard the zipper of his gym bag from the bedroom. I heard hangers scraping on the rod. He was packing his life away, and I was standing there wondering if I should finish making the pasta. Molly looked up, holding a purple crayon. Mommy, is Daddy mad? I forced a smile onto my face. It felt like stretching rubber. No, baby, Daddy's just going on a trip. How about we order pizza tonight, with extra cheese? Extra cheese, she cheered, oblivious. I turned my back to her so she wouldn't see my face, picked up my phone and ordered the pizza. My hands were shaking, but not from sadness. It was a cold, terrifying clarity. He called it opening the marriage. I called it the end. The next morning, the apartment felt like a waiting room for a funeral. It was 6:15 a.m. The sun wasn't even fully up. The sky was that bruised purple color that hurts your eyes. I was in the kitchen, drinking coffee out of a chipped mug that said, "World's Okayest Nurse," a gag gift from a patient 3 years ago. I was leaning against the sink, watching Nathan zip up his Louis Vuitton duffel bag. He'd bought it 3 months ago, claiming he needed to project success to attract success. It cost more than our monthly grocery budget. He was wearing his travel uniform, expensive joggers, a fitted tee, and a blazer. He looked like he was heading to a tech launch in Silicon Valley, not blowing up his family. Molly shuffled out of her room, rubbing sleep from her eyes. She was wearing her unicorn onesie, the one with the hood that had a little silver horn on it. Her hair was a bird's nest of tangles. "Daddy?" she asked, her voice thick with sleep. "Are you going now?" Nathan checked his Apple Watch. He tapped the screen impatiently. "Yes, sweetie, Daddy has to go. The car is 5 minutes away." He didn't kneel down. He didn't drop the bag. He stood there, towering over her. Molly reached behind her back and pulled out a piece of construction paper. "I made this for you, for the plane." She held it out. It was a drawing of a unicorn, colored violently purple with aggressive amounts of glitter glue. The unicorn was standing under a rainbow that had clearly defied the laws of physics. Nathan glanced at it. He actually checked his watch while looking at it. "That's cool, Moll. Really nice. Put it on the fridge for me, okay? I don't want it to get crumpled in my bag." He didn't take it. He wouldn't even touch it. Molly's arm dropped. "Oh, okay. I'll bring you a present when I come back," he said, throwing a generic promise at her like a treat to a dog. Maybe a real unicorn. Really? Her eyes lit up, the rejection instantly forgotten because she was 6 and she trusted him. "We'll see." He looked at me then. "I'll text when I land. Don't blow up my phone, Audrey. I need to be in the zone. Sabrina and I have a lot of prep work to do before the sessions start." "Have a safe flight," I said. It was the most neutral sentence I could construct. Right, you too. Or, have a safe shift. He smirked, grabbed the handle of his bag and opened the door. "See you in 6 weeks." He walked out. He didn't look back. I walked to the window and watched. A silver SUV was idling at the curb. The back window was tinted dark, but as Nathan opened the door, the interior light flicked on. I saw a silhouette in the back seat, blonde hair perfectly blown out. Sabrina. He tossed his bag in, climbed in next to her, and the car pulled away. I turned back to the room. Molly was standing by the fridge, trying to stick her drawing up with a magnet that wasn't strong enough to hold the weight of the glitter glue. It kept sliding down. "Here, baby," I said, walking over. My chest felt hollowed out. "Let me help." I held the drawing against the cold metal of the refrigerator. This apartment, my apartment, suddenly felt massive and quiet. "Is Daddy going to work for a long time?" Molly asked, looking up at me. "Yeah, baby," I said, smoothing her hair. "But we're going to be okay. We're going to have so much fun, just us girls." I looked at the unicorn. It was messy and beautiful and real. Nathan had chosen a fantasy. I was left with the reality. And looking at Molly, I realized the reality was worth infinitely more. 2 days later, I took my lunch break to go to the bank. It was one of those sterile branches with too much glass and air conditioning that felt aggressive, like it was trying to freeze the germs off you. I sat across from an account manager named Eric. He looked about 12 years old, wearing a tie that was too wide for his neck and nervously clicking a retractable pen. "So, Mrs. Brennan," Eric said, looking at his screen, "you want to separate the assets?" "I want to open a new checking and savings account." "Solely in my name," I corrected him, "and I need to reroute my direct deposit immediately." Eric typed something, his brow furrowing. "Okay, I see here you have the joint platinum account with Mr. Brennan. There's not a huge balance in the savings." "I know," I said. "How much is in there?" $4,212. That was it. 8 years of marriage, 2 incomes, my nursing salary, which was stable, and his high-potential sales commissions, which were sporadic at best. He spent money like he was already the CEO he thought he deserved to be. The Equinox membership he never used, the leasing payments on the car he insisted on upgrading every 2 years. "Okay," I said, pulling a piece of paper from my purse. I had done the math the night before, sitting at the kitchen table with a calculator and a glass of cheap wine. "I want to transfer $2,106 to my new account, exactly half." Eric blinked. "Half?" "Half," I said firmly. "He can keep his half. I'm taking mine. And I want to remove my name from the joint account if possible, or at least freeze my contributions." "I can't remove you without his signature if the account has debt attached. Let me check. No overdraft. Okay. I can set up the new accounts right now." I watched him type. Click, click, click. Every keystroke felt like I was cutting a thread that tied me to a sinking ship. "And Eric," I added. "Yes?" "Can we print out the last 12 months of statements for the joint account? I need them for records." "Sure thing." The printer whirred to life. I watched the pages slide out. Page after page of steak dinners, liquor stores, and cash withdrawals near his office. Meanwhile, my side of the ledger was mortgage, utilities, groceries, pediatric copays. "Here you go," Eric said, sliding the stack across the desk. He looked at me with a weird mix of pity and fear. "Is there anything else?" "No, Eric." "That's perfect." I took the stack. It was warm. "Actually, one more thing. Do you have a lollipop?" "For my daughter." He handed me a cherry dum-dum. I walked out of that bank with half our life savings, which wasn't enough to buy a used Honda, and a feeling in my gut that was pure steel. I wasn't just separating finances. I was defunding his delusions. I got home at 7:30 p.m. after picking up Molly from my mom's house. We had a routine now: dinner, bath, story, bed. It was quieter without Nathan, but easier. There was no one to clean up after, no one to walk on eggshells around. Once Molly was asleep, I opened my laptop on the coffee table. I poured myself tea, not wine. I needed a clear head. I logged into our Verizon account. I saw the usage immediately. 2 lines, mine and his. His data usage was already spiking, international roaming. He hadn't bought the travel pass. Of course he hadn't. He probably thought the rules of telecommunications didn't apply to visionaries. I clicked on Manage Lines. The option was right there, Remove Line from Account. I hovered the mouse over it. It felt petty. It felt small. Then I remembered the text he sent me 3 hours ago. Landed. Hotel amazing. Don't wait up. No question about Molly. No, how are you? Just a broadcast. I clicked Confirm. Transfer billing responsibility, the screen prompted. I entered his email address. Click Done. His phone was now his problem. I closed the laptop and took a sip of tea. It took exactly 11 minutes for my phone to ring. It was an unknown number. He was calling from a hotel phone or maybe Sabrina's. I picked up. "Hello?" "What the hell, Audrey?" Nathan's voice exploded in my ear. He sounded breathless, panic mixed with rage. "My phone just died. I have no service." "What did you do?" "I separated our lines," I said, my voice calm. I examined a loose thread on the couch cushion. "You said you wanted independence. I'm giving it to you." "I'm in Mexico. I need my phone for work. I can't get Uber. I can't check my email. You cut me off." "You're at a training seminar, Nathan. Surely the hotel has Wi-Fi. You can set up your own plan. You have your own income." "This is insane. You're being vindictive because I'm prioritizing my mental health. You're punishing me for growing." He was shouting now. I could hear music in the background. Steel drums? "I'm not punishing you," I said. "I'm budgeting. I can't afford your international roaming charges. Ask Sabrina to let you use her hotspot. She's an innovator, right? She'll figure it out." There was a silence on the line. Heavy, shocked silence. He wasn't used to me biting back. "You're going to regret this," he hissed. "When I come back, we are going to have a serious conversation about your attitude." "I look forward to it," I said. "Good night, Nathan." I hung up. Then I blocked the number he just called from. My heart was hammering against my ribs, but it wasn't fear. It was adrenaline. I felt like I had just landed the first punch in a fight I didn't know I was in until yesterday. The adrenaline faded by Saturday morning, replaced by a cold need for evidence. My lawyer friend, Dana, well, friend of a friend, had told me over the phone, "Document everything. If he's claiming this is a work trip, we need proof it's not." I remembered his old iPad, the one with the cracked screen he tossed in the junk drawer in the guest room about 6 months ago when he upgraded to the Pro. I dug through the drawer, pushing aside dead batteries and takeout menus until my fingers brushed the cold aluminum. I pulled it out. It was dead. I plugged it in. The battery icon flashed red. I waited. 5 minutes. 10. Finally, the Apple logo appeared. My pulse spiked. If he hadn't logged out, his iMessages would be here, his synced photos, everything. The lock screen came up. I typed in his passcode, 1988, his birth year. Incorrect passcode. I frowned. He never changed his passwords. He said security was fear-based. I tried our anniversary, 1012. Incorrect passcode. I tried generators. iPad disabled. Try again in 1 minute. My stomach dropped. He must have changed it right before he left. Or maybe remotely? No, it wasn't connected to Wi-Fi yet. I waited the minute. I tried one more combination. 2 Cora 17, Molly's birth year. It unlocked. Yes, I gasped. I immediately went to settings to connect to the Wi-Fi so it would update with his latest messages. I selected our home network. The little spinner wheel turned, connected. Suddenly, a pop-up box appeared in the center of the screen. Apple ID verification required. Enter the password for Nathan.Brennany. I typed in his standard password. Success? Verifying? The screen froze. Then a new message. Password changed. Your password was changed 2 days ago. Please enter the new password. No, I whispered. No, no, no. He must have changed his Apple ID password when he set up his new phone, or maybe when he realized I cut his line. I tried to guess it. Freedom. Sabrina, Growth 2024. Account locked for security reasons. The iPad went dark. It was useless. Whatever texts he was sending to Sabrina, whatever photos he was taking right now, they were locked behind a wall of encryption I couldn't breach. I stared at the black screen, feeling the tears prick at my eyes. I had nothing. Then I looked at the wastebasket in the corner of the room. He had cleaned out his wallet before he left. I remembered seeing him toss receipts. I dropped the iPad and dove into the trash can. It was mostly tissues and wrappers, but at the bottom there was a crumpled ball of paper. I smoothed it out. It was a receipt from the airport kiosk. 2 coffees. 1 black, 1 oat milk latte with vanilla. And a baggage claim sticker, peel off? No, a receipt for excess baggage weight. And another scrap, a printed itinerary page he must have discarded. Most of it was coffee-stained, but I could make out a reservation code and a hotel name, Ocean View Resort and Spa. I didn't have his texts, but I had his location, and it definitely wasn't the Tech Leadership Conference Center in Chicago he had told his mother about. By Sunday, the apartment felt suffocating. His presence was everywhere. The cologne bottles on the bathroom counter, the stack of alpha male psychology books on the nightstand, the gaming chair that took up half the living room. I called Tara and Bella. "I need an exorcism," I told them. They arrived 2 hours later with a box of heavy-duty trash bags, a label maker, and 3 bottles of Pinot Grigio. "We are reclaiming the square footage," Tara announced. She was wearing yoga pants and looked ready for war. "Point us to the infection." We started in the bedroom. I pulled his suits out of the closet. The expensive button-downs he bought to impress Miles, the silk ties. "Fold or bunch?" Bella asked, holding a blazer. "Fold," I said. "We are doing this properly. I'm not giving him ammo to say I destroyed his property." We packed 12 boxes. We cleared the bathroom. His $30 hair gel, his specialized beard oil, his electronic toothbrush that he insisted on leaving plugged in right next to the sink. Then the living room. The books were the worst. Titles like Unleash Your Inner Titan, The 4-Hour Work Week, and Why Women Don't Understand Visionaries. "God, he's such a cliché," Tara muttered, tossing the subtle art of not giving a ficasse into a box. "It's like he was built in a laboratory by a divorced podcast host." "Don't read them, just pack them," I said, taping a box shut with aggressive precision. By 4 p.m., the apartment was echoing. It looked huge. We loaded everything into Bella's rented cargo van. We drove to the U Store It facility on the edge of town. It was a grim place with fluorescent lights and concrete floors. I rented the smallest unit available, a 5x5 locker. We stacked the boxes to the ceiling. I put his gaming chair on top. "Okay," I said, looking at the tower of cardboard. "That's him. That's his whole life." I locked the roll-up door. I went to the front desk and added Nathan Brennan as an authorized user. I paid for 1 month in cash. "He can come get it when he gets back," I said, "but he's not coming back to my house." On the drive home, Tara looked at me in the rearview mirror. "How do you feel?" I looked out the window. Lighter. Like I just lost 200 pounds of dead weight. That night, after the purge, the girls stayed over. We ordered Thai food and sat on the floor of the now empty living room. "Okay," Bella said, pulling out her phone. "Time for the deep dive. The iPad didn't work, but people are stupid. Let's see what we can find." "He blocked me," I said. "And Sabrina is private." "Please," Bella scoffed. "My Finsta," fake Instagram, follows 3,000 people. I'm basically invisible." She tapped away. "Okay, searching Sabrina Price. Private. Damn, but wait." She clicked something. "Search by location. You found that receipt for Ocean View Resort, right?" "Yeah." "Okay, let's look at the tags for Ocean View Resort for the last 48 hours. She scrolled. "Selfie, family vacation, honeymoon. Wait, who is this?" She turned the phone to me. It was a photo posted by a random account, some guy named A Party Mike 99. The caption was, "Poolside with the crew. Mexico, they're living." In the background of the selfie, over Party Mike's left shoulder, sitting on a lounge chair, was a man in blue swim trunks. "That's Nathan," I whispered. I knew those trunks. I bought them at Target 3 years ago. "And look who is applying sunscreen to his back," Bella said, zooming in. "A blonde woman. Sabrina." "Okay, we have visual confirmation," Tara said. "But we need more." "Check the reflections," I said. I remembered reading this in a detective novel. "Look for anyone tagging her." Bella went to Sabrina's tagged photos. Jackpot, her friend Clara didn't get the memo about secrecy. There it was, A photo posted 3 hours ago by Clara Stiles. It was a group shot at a dinner table. Nathan and Sabrina were sitting next to each other. His arm was draped over her chair. They were clinking champagne glasses. The caption, "To new beginnings and leaving the past behind." "Leaving the past behind," I read aloud. "That's me, I'm the past." "He's smiling," I noted. "He looks relieved." It hurt. I won't lie. Seeing your husband of 8 years look at another woman with that "I won the lottery" face, it's a physical blow. "Screenshot everything," I told Bella. "Every comment, every timestamp. Send them to me." "Already doing it," Bella said. "This isn't a training seminar, this is a honeymoon." I took a sip of wine. Good. Let him have his honeymoon. I'm building a case. Tuesday came. I was at work, pediatric ICU, when my phone buzzed. It was the school. "Mrs. Brennan, this is Principal Garrett." My stomach dropped. "Is Molly okay? Is she sick?" "She's physically fine," the principal said, her voice careful. "But there was an incident at recess. We need you to come in." I left work early. I drove to the school with white knuckles, my mind racing through worst-case scenarios. Did she hit someone? Did she run away? I sat in the principal's office. It smelled like hand sanitizer and stale coffee. The chairs were too small. "So," Principal Garrett said, folding her hands, "Molly was playing house with some other children. Apparently, one of the boys asked where the daddy doll was. Molly told the group." She paused, checking a note. She said, "My daddy left because Mommy wasn't good enough." The air left my lungs. It felt like I'd been slapped. She said that? Yes, and she was quite matter-of-fact about it. "Mrs. Brennan, children repeat what they hear. Is there talk like that at home?" "No," I said, horrified. I've been so careful. I told her he was on a work trip." Then I remembered the phone call. Sunday night. The one where he yelled about me punishing his growth and being petty. Molly had been in the bath, but the door was cracked. Had she heard him screaming through the phone? Or maybe before he left? Had he whispered things to her? "I'm separating from my husband," I admitted, my voice trembling. "He left, abruptly. I didn't realize she was internalizing this." "I see," the principal said, softening. "Look, we have a school counselor. I think Molly needs to talk to someone who isn't you or her father, to process the narrative." "Yes," I said, "please, whatever she needs." I walked out of the office feeling like the worst mother in the world. I had been so focused on the bank accounts and the storage unit, I hadn't realized my 6-year-old was walking around thinking she was the daughter of a woman who wasn't good enough. I picked Molly up from the after-school room. She ran to me, smiling. "Mommy, I drew another unicorn." I hugged her so tight she squeaked. "I love you, Molly. You know that, right? You and me, we're a team, and we are good enough. We are more than enough." She looked at me, confused but happy. "I know, Mommy. Can we get ice cream?" "Yes," I said, blinking back tears. "We can get anything you want." The next day, Wednesday, was my day off. I decided I needed undeniable proof. The Instagram screenshots were good, but Dana said, if we can get a receipt with his name on it from the hotel, proving he paid for a double room, it proves the affair and the misuse of funds. The receipt I found in the trash said Ocean View Resort. It was a 2-hour drive down the coast. I dropped Molly at school and hit the highway. I drove fast, fueled by caffeine and rage. I rehearsed what I would say to the front desk. "I'm his wife. I need a folio copy for taxes." I pulled up to the resort around 11 hours a.m. It was fancy, white pillars, valet parking. I walked into the lobby, smoothing my scrubs. I wore them to look more sympathetic, like a busy nurse on her break. I approached the front desk. A young woman with a tight bun looked up. "Hi," I said, flashing my ID. "I'm Audrey Brennan. My husband, Nathan Brennan, is staying here. He forgot to send me the folio for our taxes, and since I was in the area..." She typed, "Brennan. Brennan." She frowned. I don't see a current guest by that name. He might have checked in under Price? Sabrina Price? I offered, feeling humiliatingly like a stalker. She typed again. I have a reservation for a Price Brennan, but it shows as canceled. Canceled? My heart stopped. Yes, they canceled 4 days ago. The note says, rebooked at the Palms due to preference for upgrade. The Palms? I asked. It's a much more exclusive property, about 3 hours south, in Mexico. Mexico. The background of the photos. The steel drums on the call. I had driven 2 hours to a hotel in New Jersey, or wherever, just local coast, and he was in another country. Oh, I said. Right, Mexico, of course. I walked back to my car. I had wasted 4 hours of driving. I had wasted gas money I barely had. I sat in the driver's seat and screamed. Just one long, guttural scream that fogged up the windshield. I was chasing a ghost. He was sipping margaritas in Cabo, and I was in a parking lot in a strip mall town looking for a receipt that didn't exist. This was the false lead. I felt stupid. I felt small. I wiped my face, put the car in reverse, and drove home. I didn't have the proof. I just had the mileage. I was folding laundry that evening, Molly's tiny socks, my scrubs, when my phone rang. Esther Brennan, Nathan's mother. I froze. Esther and I were polite. We sent Christmas cards, but we didn't chat. Did she know? I picked up. Hi, Esther. Audrey, dear. She sounded strained. I hope I'm not bothering you. I called Nathan's office today. Oh? I held a pair of socks tight in my hand. Yes, I wanted to wish him luck on his presentation in Chicago, but his assistant, she said he's on personal leave. She sounded confused. She said he's not at a seminar. The silence stretched on the line. I could hear the hum of my dryer in the background. I had a choice. I could cover for him. I could say, oh, it's a mix-up. That's what the old Audrey would have done, the Audrey who kept the peace. But I looked at the empty closet where his suits used to be. He's not in Chicago, Esther, I said quietly, and he's not at a work seminar. Where is he? He's in Mexico, with a woman named Sabrina Price from his office. He told me he's opening our marriage to find himself. I heard a gasp, a literal gasp. What? He left us, Esther. He walked out on Molly and me 6 days ago. He's on a vacation with his mistress. That. Esther's voice trembled, then hardened into something I'd never heard before. That boy has lost his damn mind. I'm sorry to tell you this way. Do not apologize to me, she snapped. Not at me, but at the situation. I raised him better than this, abandoning his child for a fling. He calls it a journey of self-discovery. He can call it whatever he wants. It's adultery and it's shameful. She paused. Audrey, are you okay? Do you need money? Do you need me to come take Molly? We're okay, I said, tears finally spilling over. But I might need you to write a statement for the lawyer, confirming he lied to you too. You'll have it, she said. I'll write it tonight. I'm not protecting a liar, even if I gave birth to him. I hung up. I had lost a husband, but I had unexpectedly gained a witness. And Esther Brennan was a retired school teacher with perfect penmanship and a zero-tolerance policy for nonsense. Nathan was in so much trouble. It was 3:15 a.m. on a Thursday. I was in the pediatric break room, sitting under the buzzing fluorescent light that always gave me a headache. I was nursing a lukewarm coffee and staring at the vending machine, debating if a bag of stale pretzels would fix my life or make it worse. My phone buzzed on the Formica table. I jumped. Nobody texts at 3 a.m. unless someone is dying or drunk. It was a number I didn't recognize. Area code 212. Text, are you Audrey Brennan? I hesitated. My thumb hovered over the screen. Reply, who is this? 3 dots danced immediately. Text, this is Jeremy Price, Sabrina's husband. My breath hitched. I set the coffee down. The plastic cup made a hollow thud. Text. I think we have a problem. I found out yesterday. I'm filing for divorce. I stared at the screen. Jeremy Price, the man whose wife was currently opening her chakras or whatever with my husband in Mexico. Me. I know. They're in Mexico. I tried to find them at the Ocean View Resort, but they canceled. Jeremy. They aren't at Ocean View. They're at the Palms in Cabo. He put the upgrade on a company card, but they used my wife's loyalty number for the points. That's how I saw the booking. He sent an image. It was a screenshot of a Hilton Honors activity log, the Palms Cabo San Lucas, One King Oceanfront Suite. Guest, Nathan Brennan. I felt a rush of cold vindication. This was the proof I had missed. The false lead from the trash had been a decoy, but Jeremy just handed me the smoking gun. Jeremy, I'm sorry you're going through this. I've already contacted my lawyer, and I contacted his company's HR department. I thought you should know. I typed back, my fingers shaking. Thank you, Jeremy. I'm sorry, too. I locked my phone and looked at my reflection in the dark break room window. My scrubs were wrinkled. My eyes were tired. But I had the location, and I knew something Nathan didn't. His girlfriend's husband had just nuked his career. 2 days later, on Saturday morning, I was vacuuming the living room, aggressively tackling the dust bunnies under the couch, when my phone rang. Mrs. Brennan? A woman's voice. Sharp, professional. This is Detective Lauren Chin with the Financial Crimes Division. I turned off the vacuum. The silence in the apartment was sudden and heavy. Yes? I'm following up on a report filed regarding unauthorized use of corporate funds. Your husband, Nathan Brennan, is a person of interest. I sat down on the arm of the couch. Is this about the trip? We have reason to believe Mr. Brennan used his corporate expense account to fund personal travel to Mexico, amounting to approximately $8,000. The complaint was flagged by a Mr. Jeremy Price and corroborated by the company's internal audit. $8,000? I repeated. Yes, ma'am. Flights, the suite, dinners. He marked them as client acquisition, Latin America. The company is pressing charges. It's grand larceny. My head spun. Nathan didn't just cheat. He stole. He stole from his job to fund an affair he told me was a spiritual journey. Mrs. Brennan, we've been trying to reach him, but his phone is disconnected. I cut his service, I admitted. He's on Wi-Fi only. I see. Well, if he contacts you, please inform him there is a warrant being issued. It would be in his best interest to surrender upon return. I will, I said. Thank you, Detective. I hung up. I looked around my apartment. I had been worried about paying the rent. Nathan was about to be worried about making bail. The scales hadn't just tipped, they had shattered. Monday evening, 5:45 p.m. I was in the kitchen, boiling pasta for mac and cheese. Molly was in the living room watching My Little Pony. Then I heard it, the beep of the electronic keypad on the front door. Beep, 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 beep. Error sound. I froze. I had changed the code the day I moved his stuff out. Then came the sound of a key sliding into the deadlock. It turned, hit the stopper, and wouldn't budge. I had changed the cylinder, too. What the? A muffled voice. Nathan. Then the pounding started. Heavy, panicked fists against the wood. Audrey, open the door. I know you're in there. Molly looked up, eyes wide. She pulled one headphone off. Mommy, is that Daddy? Put your headphones back on, baby, I said, my voice calm but loud. Turn it up, it's okay. She obeyed, sliding the purple cup over her ear. I walked to the door but didn't open it. I looked through the peephole. Nathan looked wreck. He was wearing the same travel clothes he left in, but they were rumpled. He was sunburnt, peeling on his nose. He was sweating. Open the goddamn door, Audrey! My key doesn't work! Suddenly, the door across the hall flew open. Mrs. Doreen stepped out. She was 70 years old, wore a floral housecoat, and held a cane like a weapon. She had complained about my TV volume twice in 3 years. Hey, she shrieked. Her voice was like a circular saw. "What is this racket? I'm watching Jeopardy!" Nathan spun around. "Mind your business, lady. My wife locked me out of my house." "You don't live here," Mrs. Doreen yelled back, pointing her cane at him. "I saw the moving truck. You moved out last week. Stop banging or I'm calling the cops." "I didn't move out. She threw me out." Nathan lunged toward the door again and kicked it. Thud. Mrs. Doreen lifted her phone. She was filming him. "I'm getting this on video. You're violent. You're disturbing the peace." "I am not violent. I am a victim of emotional abuse," Nathan screamed at the old woman. "I'm calling 911, Mrs. Doreen announced. I leaned my forehead against the cool wood of the door. My neighbor, the cranky old lady who hated everyone, was currently being the best bouncer in history. 10 minutes later, the hallway was a circus. I saw the blue lights flashing through the window. I opened the door when I heard the heavy knock of authority. "Police, open up." I opened it. 2 officers stood there. Nathan was leaning against the wall, panting, looking vindicated. "Finally," Nathan said, gesturing at me. "Officer, arrest her. She stole my property. She illegally evicted me." The officer, a tall guy with Ramirez on his badge, looked at me. "Ma'am, is this your husband?" "We are separated," I said clearly. "He voluntarily left the home 6 weeks ago. The lease is solely in my name." I handed Ramirez the folder I had prepared. It was sitting on the entry table for this exact moment. The original lease, signed 2017, Audrey Whitmore. The text message where Nathan said, "I'm leaving tomorrow. I've decided we're in an open marriage." The receipt for the storage unit with the access code. Ramirez looked at the papers. He looked at the lease. He looked at Nathan. "Sir, your name isn't on this lease." "We're married. It's marital property," Nathan sputtered. "And my stuff is in there." "Actually," I interjected, pointing to the storage receipt, "your belongings are at U Store It on 5th Street, Unit 404. Here is the key and the gate code. I paid for the first month." Nathan stared at the key in my hand like it was a grenade. "You put my stuff in a storage unit?" "You left," I said. "I reclaimed the space." Ramirez handed the papers back to me. He turned to Nathan. "Sir, this looks like a civil matter. The lease is in her name. She has provided you access to your property off-site. You can't force entry here." "But I have nowhere to go," Nathan's voice cracked. "My company cards are frozen. I can't check into a hotel." "That's not a police problem, sir," Ramirez said. "But if you continue to pound on this door, I will arrest you for disturbing the peace. We have video evidence from the neighbor." Mrs. Doreen poked her head out. "I sent it to the precinct email." Nathan looked at me. His eyes were wild, desperate. The arrogance of the visionary was gone. He was just a guy with a suitcase and no place to sleep. "Audrey," he pleaded, his voice dropping to a whisper. "Please, just let me sleep on the couch. I'm in trouble." "I know," I said. "Detective Chin called. You should probably call a lawyer, Nathan." His face went white. "Step away from the door, sir," Ramirez ordered. Nathan grabbed the handle of his Louis Vuitton bag. The squeak of the wheels as he walked down the hallway toward the elevator was the saddest sound I'd ever heard. I closed the door. I locked the deadbolt. I locked the chain. 2 days later, Wednesday. Nathan's lawyer, some guy he probably found on a billboard, filed an emergency motion for visitation. Dana, my lawyer, said we should agree to a Zoom call to show we weren't alienating him, but that we should record it. I set up the laptop on the kitchen table. Molly sat in the chair, clutching her purple unicorn plushie. "Okay, baby," I said. "Daddy wants to say hi on the computer." Molly looked nervous. "Is he mad?" "No, he just misses you." I started the meeting. Nathan's face popped up. He was in what looked like a Motel 6. Beige walls, bad lighting. He looked tired. "Hi, princess." He put on a fake, overly bright smile. "Hi, Daddy," Molly said quietly. "I miss you so much, Moll. I tried to come home to see you, but Mommy locked the door. Did you know that? Mommy wouldn't let Daddy in." I stiffened. I was standing just out of frame. "Mommy said you have to sleep at a storage place," Molly said innocently. Nathan's jaw tightened. "Mommy is being complicated. Molly, don't you want Daddy to come home? Don't you want us to be a family again? If you tell Mommy you want me home, she has to listen." I stepped into the frame. "Okay, that's enough." Nathan's eyes narrowed. "I'm talking to my daughter, Audrey." "You're manipulating her," I said, reaching for the mouse. "We are not discussing the separation with a 6-year-old. Talk about her day, or this call is over." "You can't censor me. I have rights." "You have the right to ask about school. Go ahead." He huffed. "Fine. How was school, Molly?" "Good," Molly said, looking at me for reassurance. "We learned about tadpoles." "Tadpoles, great, riveting." He looked away from the camera, clearly bored. "Look, tell Mommy you miss me, okay? Just tell her." I clicked end meeting. The screen went black. "Why did you turn off Daddy?" Molly asked, lip trembling. "Because Daddy was breaking the rules," I said, hugging her. "He's in timeout." I saved the recording. Fila name. Attempted manipulation, Enzo 1 MP4. Dana was going to love this. Friday. I was in Dana's office. It was a corner office with a view of the city. Clean, sharp, expensive. Everything my life wasn't right now. Dana watched the Zoom recording on her laptop. She took a sip of water, her expression unreadable. Then she closed the laptop gently. "He's digging his own grave," she said. "This is textbook parental alienation, attempting to weaponize the child against the custodial parent." "Is it enough?" I asked. "He's fighting for 50-50 custody. He says he's renting an apartment next week." "With what money?" Dana asked. "Audrey, I spoke to the DA regarding the fraud charges. They are indicting him on Tuesday. Grand larceny and wire fraud." She slid a paper across the desk. Jeremy Price didn't just report the card misuse. He handed over emails where Nathan discussed hiding assets for his new life. Nathan is looking at probable jail time, or at the very least a felony record and massive restitution. So he can't get custody? He's a flight risk. He's unemployed. He's facing criminal charges. And she tapped the laptop. He's emotionally unstable with the child. We aren't just going for primary custody, Audrey. We're going for sole physical custody with supervised visitation only. He is a radioactive liability. I breathed out. "Okay, let's do it." "One more thing," Dana said, a small smirk playing on her lips. "Sabrina Price has agreed to be a witness for the prosecution to save her own skin." "You're kidding." "Nope, the rats are jumping off the ship." That night, I checked Instagram. Bella had sent me a screenshot earlier. "Look at Sabrina's bio." I pulled up the profile. She was public again. The bio used to say, "Innovator, disruptor, partner in crime to Nathan B." Now it said, "Healing, solo journey, Phoenix rising." I scrolled down. Every single photo of Nathan was gone. The Mexico photos? Gone. The New Beginnings champagne toast? Gone. Instead, there was a black and white photo of a storm cloud with the caption, "Sometimes you have to cut out the toxic energy to find your true light. I was manipulated by a narcissist, but I am reclaiming my power." Survivor truth. I laughed out loud, a harsh, barking laugh in my empty kitchen. She was calling him the narcissist. She, the woman who went to Cabo with a married man on his company dime, was now the victim. She had thrown him under the bus so fast he probably still had tire marks on his forehead. I pictured Nathan in his motel room, scrolling through this feed on his Wi-Fi connection, realizing that the love of his life had deleted him to avoid an accessory to fraud charge. He was completely alone, and he deserved it. The court date was 2 weeks later. The family court building was depressing, scuffed linoleum floors and people crying in the hallways. I wore my best gray suit. I wore the pearls my grandmother left me. I looked like a fortress. Dana walked beside me, her heels clicking rhythmically. Shoulders back, don't look at him. Answer the judge, not him. We entered courtroom 304. Nathan was already there. He was sitting at the respondent's table. He looked terrible. He had lost at least 15 pounds. His suit, the navy one I helped him pick out 3 years ago, hung off his shoulders. His hair, usually gelled to perfection, was limp. Next to him was his lawyer, a guy who looked like he hadn't slept in a week, shuffling a stack of disorganized papers. Nathan looked up as I walked in. His eyes met mine. I expected anger. I expected the arrogance he had in the kitchen when he told me I was boring. Instead, I saw fear, pure, naked panic. He mouthed something. I think it was Audrey. I looked away. I focused on the seal of the state hanging above the judge's bench. I wasn't his wife anymore. I was the plaintiff. "All rise," the bailiff called. Judge Harrison was a woman with glasses on a chain and a face that had seen every lie a human being could tell. "Matter of Brennan versus Brennan," she said, looking over her spectacles. "We are here for emergency custody orders." Dana stood up. "Your Honor, we are requesting sole physical custody. The respondent, Mr. Brennan, abandoned the marital home for 6 weeks, has no fixed address, is currently under indictment for felony fraud, and has attempted to emotionally manipulate the child during his one permitted video call." She laid it out. The lease, the school report about mommy not being good enough, the Zoom recording, the fraud indictment. Nathan's lawyer stood up. He sounded shaky. "Your Honor, my client is... He is going through a difficult transition, but he is a loving father. The fraud charges are unproven allegations. He has rights." "Mr. Brennan," Judge Harrison said, looking directly at Nathan, "where are you currently residing?" Nathan stood up. I'm staying at the Extended Stay America on Route 9, Your Honor." "And are you employed?" "I am between opportunities. I was wrongfully terminated." "And did you leave the country for 6 weeks without informing your wife of your location while leaving your child?" "I told her I was going on a training seminar," Nathan argued. "I was working on myself." "In Cabo San Lucas?" The judge raised an eyebrow. "With a paramour?" Nathan stammered. It was a retreat." "Mr. Brennan," the judge cut him off, "I've seen the video of you attempting to coerce your daughter. That alone is grounds for supervised visitation. Added to the instability of your housing and the legal peril you are facing." She banged the gavel. It made a sound like a gunshot. "Primary physical and legal custody to Mrs. Brennan. Respondent is granted 2 hours of supervised visitation per week at the county center. No overnights, no electronic communication without monitoring. Review in 6 months." Nathan slumped into his chair. He put his head in his hands. "We are adjourned." I didn't smile. I didn't cheer. I just felt a massive, crushing weight lift off my chest. I looked at Dana. She nodded once. We walked out. Nathan didn't follow. He just sat there in the empty courtroom, burying his face in his hands. 3 months later, the park was noisy. Kids screaming, swings creaking, but to me it sounded like a symphony. It was a Saturday afternoon. The sun was that perfect, crisp autumn gold. I sat on a bench holding a vanilla cone with rainbow sprinkles. Molly was on the swings, pumping her legs. "Higher, Mommy, watch me!" "I see you, baby, you're flying," I called back. Life had settled. Nathan was living in a studio apartment in a bad part of town. He pled guilty to a lesser charge of misdemeanor theft to avoid jail time, but he has to pay back every cent to the company. He's working at a car rental place near the airport. He sees Molly on Saturdays for 2 hours at the center. She says he's sad and quiet. I looked down at my phone. A text from Miles, Nathan's old enabler friend. "Miles, hey Audrey, long time. Just wanted to say, I dropped Nathan. Didn't know he was doing all that shady stuff. Hope you're good." I deleted the text. I didn't need their apologies. I looked back at Molly. She jumped off the swing, landing in the wood chips with a thud and a giggle. She ran over to me, her cheeks flushed pink. "Mommy, can I have a lick?" she asked, eyeing my ice cream. Sure. I held it out. She took a giant bite. Tastes like victory. I laughed. It's just vanilla, goose. No, she said seriously. It tastes like happy. I looked at the purple unicorn drawing she had made for Nathan that morning he left. I had framed it. It was hanging in our hallway now, not as a sad memory, but as a reminder of the day we became a team. Yeah, baby, I said, wiping a sprinkle off her chin. It really does. We walked home hand in hand. The apartment was waiting for us. Quiet, safe, ours. If this story resonated with you, leave a like and consider subscribing. You can also drop any comment below, even just one word. Maybe tell me where you're watching from, or what time it is right now. Sometimes one word is enough to say you were here.